Hey guys, so I just finished making this machine on my server. It took me around 5 hours. I think it's pretty cool. So I'm going to give you guys a little tutorial on how to make this. So it's a decontamination room. So what happens is when you walk in, doors close, lights start flashing, gate opens, water floods down, you can't swim up, there's a block, the things close, the lights stop flashing, and then the doors open once all the water is left. So I thought, why not, if I spent 5 hours making this, why not make a tutorial on how to make this? So the first thing that I did was I made a system that would make the lights flash on and on when they get a signal. So those are the lights, they're the pumpkins. This is completely useless. I don't know why I have this here. That's for something I used to have on this thing. So essentially what happens is I used a wireless transmitter using the Craftbook mod. So this is a receiver, and once it gets a message from the sender, it pretty much just flips this switch. So once this switch turns on from the receiver, it goes to this 3 input, and the 3 input won't activate unless all 3 of the inputs are active. And the reason this one is turning on and off is because this one is a clock, and every 12 N ticks it'll turn on and off, so it's flickering on and off. And so when you go in, like Baffle just did, this becomes powered, and that would put the input to here, and then it would go on and off with this. And when it's off, the lights turn on. So now on to the bridge. So to drop the water in and drop the water out, there's bridges, which are also part of the Craftbook mod. They open and close, and underneath this is a bridge. It looks like it was just the normal ceiling of the room, and when it unclicks, it just retracts, and that lets the water fall down on the person. This is just to keep them from swimming up out of it if they panic or anything. So that goes to that, and there's also, I made a wireless receiver. So this is the same type of thing that you use to activate the lights. This one's called flood. That one just activates, it just turns on, activates these ones. So now to the bulk of it. So now we have how the 2 things are activated, and the doors are a little harder to show, but the doors are pretty much activated in the same way. That redstone goes to the door, and there's a receiver right there. It's the door receiver. So essentially what happens is when you walk in, where is it? When you walk in, there's a detection. So it will detect, it will become activated, it will activate the redstone behind it if there's anyone in a 3 radius, anything in a 3 radius that walks above. So when you walk in, it activates this, and it goes to the transmitter. So the transmitter sends whatever signal to the receiver. So it's like the same type of receivers that were for the flood and for the other things. So that will send this signal down to right here. So that receives this signal. So once you enter the room, it powers that up. So then this signal, I don't know why that's there. So this signal will activate this flip. So this will flip on this gate, or this will become active. And I only wanted it to pulse for a second. I only wanted it to pulse for a second. So what happens is when you go in, this will go down, and this is normally active. So as this goes down, it will go through here, and all 3 will be active for about 1 second, and it will go through to the loop. Don't worry about the loop right now. So it will go through to that, and to get it to only pulse for a second, this turns on and off. So when this becomes, this is a NOT switch. So essentially what the NOT switch does is if this redstone is powered, this redstone right here that it's controlling will become unpowered. So it'll go through, your signal will go through, and it will also go around here, but there's redstone delays, so it'll take a little bit, it'll get to there, and then it will turn this off. So then this will be off, so it will only send the message it's received, so it will only be lit. This will only be lit for like 1 second. So I'll show you an example. Let's walk towards the player detector. flicked on for a second, and then it pulses around. Yeah, see, now it's activated, but only for a second. So if I leave the area again, this will go off, and you'll see this one's on. It'll pulse for 1 second, and then that will go off. So now see, it's off and it pulsed, and now the thing is being activated. So once it's done, it doesn't even really depend on you being okay. So now, kind of a little laggy there, but now after this, so after this becomes activated, here's another really complicated part. I'll come back to this in a minute. So the redstone chain goes around to here, and this is a rising toggle. So once it gets one active current for 1 second, it will flip the switch. So if it gets power, it'll flip it down, and then if it gets power again, like if it goes on and off again, it will flick it again. So like for example, if I had a button, press the button once, it would go down, press the button again, it would go up. So it pulses every time it gets a thing. And then this just goes to the transmitter of the lights. So it goes to the receiver of the lights. So this one will turn on the lights as this goes around. Then it will activate this one. So then this one will trigger eventually will trigger the door. I'll explain that one too, that's the complicated part. And then this one will trigger the flood. So as it goes around, it will loop around, and it will trigger all of these in the order. But the other problem is I only wanted it to trigger twice, so it turns on and off, like the button when you open the door and press it once, open the door, close the door, because I don't want to keep opening and closing, like the loop to just go around forever. So to do that, once you get the signal, once it pulses from this little machine that we had, once it pulses, it will go to this, and this is a 3-input, the same type of 3-input thing we had for this, where it needs all 3 to be lit. So what happens is, at the start, it's lit like this. So 2 things are lit, except for this one, but that one is activated by that. So when you walk in, the third one will become lit, so it will start to loop around. It will loop around, activate all these. That one's complicated, I'll go to that one later. That's just pretty much the door though. Activate all those, loop around, loop around, loop around, come to this part, and this is where things get, so it'll split into 2 directions. This one will be slower because of all the redstone delays, and this one will be faster. So it will go down here, go back down, and loop itself around again. And I had timed it with the amount of redstone delays so that this transmitter will activate after it's gone around the second time. So it goes across the loop, starts another loop, and then that transmitter activates. And then that transmitter activates this thing. And this thing is it's one of those, it's the same temperature that pulses on and off. So and because it goes to this, which it needs to go through, once it goes through once, it turns this off, so it won't be able to go through again. So I'll show you, I'll just do it. Once it's done doing is it done? Oh, there's an arrow somewhere. Okay, so walk closer to it, pulse that thing, that'll go around, so that's going around, and now it powered up that thing, so now you can see that that switch is off, so it doesn't go around again. And because it doesn't go around again, but it still goes around another time, it will reset itself. It's kind of complicated, but so you walk closer, see it's activated, it's still active. Once it gets, so then now this will go through there. Now shortly after, this will turn off, it will go around for a loop again, but it will not be able to go through because that thing is off. But after it goes through the second time, it will go back there, activate that again, and then it will come back on. So that's just how it pulses. And now I came to the issue that because the water thing, I wanted the water to activate after the door is closed. So after it, like, I wanted the lights to flash first, I wanted the doors to go second, and then the water to flood third, but on the way back I want the doors to open only after the water has gone all the way. So I wanted to make sure that it was going to be gone all the way. So as it goes around doing this, it's the same thing. It'll pulse once, turn this on, it does the same to turn the light on, and it goes to this, and this just reverses it. So while this is off, this one will always be on, and so that means that this will be lit up, and then that means it will be giving the signal to this. So this is to the door. So this, when it's powered, the doors are open. So I wanted the doors to stay closed until I was for sure that the water had all the way had gone. So to do that, I made another receiver. This is getting really complicated now. So there's a receiver, and it will be activated. Well, it will power when there's water. This block right here is set to detect water above. So that will detect the water above it, and then it will send that over to the transmitter, which will go to this thing. So if there's water, the current will be active. As you can see here, the current is active. And I wanted this to be inverted, so when the water is there, this gate is not getting its power. So no matter what, the door will not open, because the door only opens when this is powered. So when the water is there, it will never power. And other than that, it's the same as all the other switches. It just uses this toggle, which when it comes by, activates once, turns on, activates it twice, it turns it off. So I think I just activated it, so this should be an example of it. So now everything is fine. Ta-da! I don't think I activated it. No, okay, so let me activate it and run over here. So now I'm close to the thing. I think it's going. I also may have screwed up by reactivating it and activating it so many times. Oh no, so there it is off, because now the water is all the way on the bottom, and it reset like normal. It'll reset, so this will get power like normal. But so now the doors would open normally, but the door won't open until all the water's gone, and this is powered. So now we're waiting for the water to leave. And apparently it's being really laggy right now, so the water is taking forever to drain. It does that sometimes on this server. Alright, the water is drained, so the thing turns back on. I know this is really complicated, but it's really only using a very few amount of actual switches. Yeah, the server's really laggy right now. Hold on. Alright, so here we go. For some reason that's better. So another preview. Also, the benefit of having the player detection switch like I have it, where it only pulses once, it will only pulse once while you're inside. So now we're going inside, we're activating the player thing, which is going around. So now the lights are flashing, water pours down. Yeah, so now it turned off. See, now normally the door would open, but now it's waiting for all the water to leave before it turns on. And the water detection thing is right in that corner, so that's where the water leaves last. So the water's gone, door is open, and it won't close again until you leave again. So this is for the lab that we're making. We're gonna make a lab type thing. So one more time, just for the fun of it. Won't activate. You go in, it will activate. And if you have a really nice server and you make one of these, the water will drain a lot faster. And once the water is gone, the doors open. And there you go. That's my decontamination machine.